What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hammerdown Motorsports. Today, well, we are working with a little bit of soft ground and mud, but not nearly like we've had. It has been pretty rainy, and this whole kind of area here has been, as you can see, pretty muddy and wet. So I had the bright idea to take the F-150 over here because they're cutting the lawn up where it was parked, and I thought I would drive it down here, kind of get it out of sight. And as you can see, that did not go too well. These tires are probably good for highway use, not necessarily mud use, and basically turned into bowling balls, and we're stuck in the mud in four-wheel drive. So what better time to see how to get a truck just like this one out of a muddy situation? If you have a four-wheel drive truck and it isn't your off-road mud truck, it's a good chance you might have tires similar to this, and if you get stuck, you probably want to figure out how to get out. So we're gonna attempt a few different ways and see if we can get this truck unstuck. Yeah, not exactly ideal for traction. So let's fire the old truck up. So the truck's been sitting here for a little bit because I did get stuck probably sometime last week. So the tires, the mud that was on them has dried. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna try to slowly creep out of the ruts. I didn't dig it down too far because that's one thing you don't wanna do. If you're spinning and you're digging down, you're just gonna dig yourself into a hole and you're gonna end up getting your suspension caught up on the ground, and then you're really stuck. Then you're really gonna need a tow out or something like that. But what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna put in reverse and try to slowly creep out of our ruts and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, we do have enough rut that the truck is not going to be able to get out with the traction that it has. So there is another technique that we're going to use, and I use this a lot in four-wheeling. It's called sawing the wheel. And basically what you do is you spin the tires, you turn the wheel side to side really quickly, try to get it out of the rut if you can, and we're going to give this a try and see what happens. So after trying the sawing of the wheel technique, you can see we've just kind of dug ourselves a little bit deeper. It does work a lot better when you're kind of trying to make your way through a trail and you haven't already dug ruts. You can kind of use that to kind of weave your way through the trail without getting stuck. And it usually works pretty well, but these tires are terrible. They've got barely any tread on them, and they're definitely not a mud tire. So the next thing we're gonna do is try to use something for traction to get us out of our ruts. So lucky for me, we do have a whole pile of rocks and a bunch of branches and things like that that was from the pile of stuff we had to move when we made the pad over this way for the shop. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of roll forward in our ruts as far as we can, try to jam some stuff underneath the tires and see if we can get the truck to kind of pop up on top of that and be able to ride out of the ruts, and hopefully we can get out of this muddy mess. So the sides of the branches that we have just aren't getting underneath the tire. Basically what you would have to do at this point is start shoveling, and I'm not gonna start shoveling on my lawn because eventually I want to have this all straightened out and dried out at some point, and I don't want to have huge holes and all that kind of good stuff. Not to mention that seems way too much like work, and I'm on my own property, so I have the luxury of having a Can-Am UTV. So we do have a tow strap on the back of the truck, and at this point we're just gonna yank it out. So the Can-Am saved the day once again. We got the Ford out of the hole, and as you can see, these tires are pretty well packed. That is one thing when you're getting into really kind of greasy, muddy areas and stuff like that, especially if you're off-roading, make sure you have good mud tires. A good mud tire will actually clean itself out when you spin it, so we can actually retain traction, and just your standard garbage tires like this truck has, they're not going to help you out too much. So as you can see, our ruts are fairly deep. So another word of advice, know when to quit. Once you've gone so far that the truck is too far gone and stuck, don't just keep spinning the tires. You're just going to dig yourself into deeper trouble. And if you get the undercarriage of the truck stuck, or you get the suction of the vehicle down in the mud, it's going to be really hard to pop it out. And you're going to have a big vehicle or a very nice winch system to be able to actually get that out and break the suction, or tow truck and all that kind of stuff gets really expensive. So just know when to quit spinning and try another method. So another thing I wanted to mention was, when you're using something to pull out your truck, try to use something like a nylon sling. Chains tend to break and they can get pretty dangerous, and they can damage your vehicle when they break, smash into the tailgate, all that kind of stuff. And you definitely do not want to be standing in the way of that potential energy. Also, with a winch cable, use a synthetic if you can. These are a lot nicer. They don't break nearly as easily as the cable ones do, and they also don't cut your hands open when you get a little bit of a fray. So in off-roading, there is a million different ways that you can get a truck out of the mud. These are just a couple words of advice from me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Keep that hammer down.